Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So, imagine that you have an artificial intelligence capable of creating a database that contains leads and prospects for your target or for your field. And today, what we have managed to do with this AI that has been used and worked on n8n is a workflow. Where I give an order, I tell it, here I'm interested in hotels in Tokyo. And as a result, it will provide me in a few seconds a real-time database containing the entire list of hotels with their manager's name, phone number, address, email, physical address, the reputation of that hotel with customer reviews and everything that goes with it. So there you go. This is an artificial intelligence that can do it. I will obviously download it, and I will obviously give you the link where you will be able to upload it yourself as well. So stay until the end of the video to be able to use this AI for free. I would like to explain how it works. So generally when I give a domain, I say here, I need hotels in Paris. This AI, it will go on Google Maps in a few seconds. It's fractions of a second. It will retrieve all the data and information related to your search domain. That is to say, if I, for example, go there to search for hotels in Paris, if I do it manually, you will see that there will be thousands and thousands of hotels in Paris. So it's huge. But this AI, it is capable of giving you all that in a few seconds. In fact, in an Excel file with the information, the data, the addresses, email, website, customer reviews. So all of this is done in a few seconds, no matter the domain or location. So you will find, of course, at the end of the video also, a small documentation there where I have actually put all the links I used to set up and create. In fact, this AI there. I thank you very much. Stay until the end to be able to take full advantage. Download for free and reuse it on your own n8n account. Thank you. So just before continuing the training on YouTube, I wanted to introduce myself very quickly for those who don't know me. So my name is Firas. I have a PhD in artificial intelligence, and today I am an instructor on the Udemy platform. So on this platform, I teach courses in marketing, business, and artificial intelligence. And if you go to the marketing category, you will find that I have several courses there. And I am ranked as the most popular instructor in France in these categories. You will see that I have profiles that contain the badge Udemy Partner Instructor, and most of my courses also have the badge Best Seller. Among my accounts on Udemy, I have approximately 20,000 students who have taken my courses here. And of course, we have more than 14,000 positive reviews. Today, I'm also a member of the n8n community where I publish my workflows. These are workflows that I customize for digital companies and share with you for free with the goal of learning. To finally thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel on my website, Aumont, which you can find the link to here. I have gathered my courses that are currently available on Udemy, which are bestsellers, and you simply have access to them. Direct access to actually benefit from these courses. This is a token of my appreciation for your loyalty. Use this coupon to access these courses. Here, I say thank you very much and enjoy the course. And so now we are going to start our tutorial, and you should know that we will divide it into 3 parts. First part, I will explain how we can install this workflow. Of course, on an n8n account, and then we will do a small demonstration of this workflow. Once we have set it up, I will show you how it runs, meaning how I initiate a real request and how my database will be created and set up quickly. And finally, of course, I will explain which modules are used in this workflow so that you can configure them and understand how to connect these nodes on our n8n system. So, in order to create this workflow, we actually need an account on n8n, because when I have an account on n8n, I will have the option here called import the file and actually import the source code of this workflow. And the file, in fact, in order for it to be executed, we said that we need an n8n account. And today, to create an n8n account, you actually have several options. So either we go to the official site, but here, in fact, it's too expensive because in terms of pricing, if I look here, the payment is actually 24 euros per month. And on top of that, I'm limited to only 5 active workflows, and that's very little. So the alternatives, there are several, but the ones I use go I actually use Hostinger, so I'll leave you the link in the description, which takes you directly to a predefined and pre-installed server. That means I'm not going to take an empty server and install n8n. No, I'm going to go directly to this link, which will take me straight to the installation. So pre-configured for n8n. And you'll see that the price is actually much more attractive. So we're talking about approximately 6.99 euros per month. And it gives me a server with 2 processors. This is very important. And it's a very strong processor, very powerful, which gives me the ability to install workflows in an unlimited manner. And that is very important. So as a result, when I click here, you will see quite simply, I will indicate the information about the location of my server. So there you simply choose a server that is close to you, and there you will simply enter a small code here, which is Dr. Viras. This code, you will see that it will give you yet another discount. So as a result, I can get the server even cheaper. So there we're at about 6 euro. And so here in terms of options, do not select anything, because afterwards, when you continue, it will offer you the server during the installation and setup. And at that moment, you will simply type n. With n, you will select n with n. So here, it's optional, so it's not mandatory to look for it here. Once you have completed this installation, you will click on continue and make the payment. You will then find, once the server is configured, that you have direct access here to your server and the n8n is connected. So when I go into n8n, meaning when I click here on manager, you will find that you can create workflows there. And especially be careful, if I go into the settings, you will find that it is unlimited. In fact, that's what's very interesting. Because it's unlimited, I can add multiple workflows, not just 5, and I can add more workflows on the server. Hostinger is free, so there's nothing to charge here. Okay, so this is the installation. So once it's done, what are you going to do? You will click here on workflow. Okay. And then what you will do is click there to actually import your workflow file and this file there. Of course, to be able to download it, you simply needed to access this page. And there you will enter your name, email address, and you will receive it by email. The workflow of this example. You will simply receive it as a zipped file. Compressed, be careful, so you need to decompress it. You shouldn't use the zipped file, you need to use the information inside, because actually, I send you 3 files, not 1, when we use them in our workflow. Well, so once we have downloaded the files, we will click here. So on the 3 dots, we will do import flame file, you will see. So I have 3 files. We will import them one by one. So I start with the first one. So I click here, I click on open. There you go. This is the first part. Don't forget to click on save. And I obviously have to do the same process with the other 3 files. So then I go back, I do the same thing here, I click here, I import the files. So I take this one, I open it. So the order, in fact, is not important. There, I click save, I go back, and then I click on import myself instead. New. Workflow is imported, and there I take the 3rd file. So now I have 3 files that have just been saved. Don't forget to click on save then. So my system has just been installed. We will obviously see how to configure them, and we will start with a test. First, to test this workflow and see how the workflow actually runs and operates, how I can simply communicate with this workflow. So now remember to actually update the name of your main workflow. So here you can just double click and rename it. So for me, it's the main workflow actually. Then it will call 2 sub workflows. So here to test, I will click down here on open, chat, and I will ask it to actually search for me. 1 in my database, so on the internet. Actually, everything related to dentists in New York. So here, I put my print here, so there you go. I ask it to search for me. Actually, the dentists in New York, and you will see the result of this file, or rather this search should be saved here. So here, starting from line 14, so I just did an extraction for 5 lines for the system just during the demonstration. I didn't actually want to run the whole system for information that doesn't interest me, because the tool in fact is made for any domain, so consequently afterwards. For you, choose your domain and ask. Of course, I will give you the parameter where you will tell it, I want you to search for 100, 200, 1000 leads, and then of course it will execute it. So consequently, I come back here. So now I will launch my query. So we will increase this a little bit. You will see that it will consult a little bit. Then we will see how the system runs the flow. So you will see that now it is switching to the mode, in fact, extraction. So here, consequently, it's the chat JPD here, in fact, that it has. There you go, it has actually rewritten the question. So consequently, the system is detecting the different, in fact, information, the different nodes. So consequently, there you go, it is thinking. So we will wait a little bit for it to actually give the result. So now it's running. There you go. It has just been executed. So we will check if it went through well or not. So now I click on Google. Indeed, starting from line 14, look with me. There, the system has just added these lines. And there you go. So now they are actually in Brooklyn. And so obviously Brooklyn actually exists in New York. I can specify because here I have state and I have city. But I can also, for example, request Manhattan or request other locations. But that's actually how the system runs. I launch my request and it will execute. And obviously here you will see that it will give me the feedback with the same image. Because even in the database, it has actually stored the images. So there you go. These are the 5 results. So it just provided me with the information. All the information there has, of course, been recorded in this database, where I was able to actually collect the maximum amount of data and information. So now we have understood how the system works. Here is how it executes. And I would now like to go a bit more in detail to go through this workflow and understand, in fact, what it is doing and how it was able to find the information module by module, node by node. So now actually to better understand how it works, I can already increase here a little bit. So the chat part, you will see that when I actually launched the command, this IAI, what it did, in fact, of course, it recorded in memory my request because always, in fact, it starts with memory and ends with memory. Why? Because here I can actually chain other questions to ask it. There you go, to write to me to give me a proposal for a strategy to prospect. So this list here, therefore, it has a memory. It can actually remember what it is doing. And sometimes, in fact, if I make a request about, for example, there you go, I make the same request. And if it detects that I am, there you go, or Brooklyn. It already has the information, in fact, regarding some data or information. It can also alert me to a data duplication. And of course, I can later program it to erase the duplication. And there, what it actually did was call upon this tool. It's a special tool that allows you to scrape Google Maps, meaning to browse and retrieve data and information. So as a result, we are going to try to go back to our workflow and do a reading. So how does the reading take place? It happens here. In fact, when I have a trigger, what is the trigger? It's actually the message in the chat. As soon as a message has been sent, the agent, in fact, it will try to understand the information within the message. And when I say understand, it means that we have just implemented a small brain for it here. That brain is OpenAI. It's simply GPT-4. So this one will understand what I just told it. Because listen, I can ask it, I can tell it here, look, a simple thing. I can say hello, or I can ask it a very, very simple question, a question to ask it, like what's new in AI? Or we might say, look, if I say hello, it responded, it said hello to me, you see. And so here, when I said hello, it didn't actually want to call upon other tools because this intelligence will understand my request. And subsequently, it will perfectly know what the issue is, where it will then question it. If I ask it like, what's up? Today, as seen as information, you will see that it will not only go here into the memory, it can also actually call upon other nodes. We are going to discover that. So as a result, I ask it for information. Look, it called upon that node. It's actually a special node to go on the internet. You know that they're artificial intelligence with the API. In fact, here it has some constraints to go to the internet. This one can call upon the Google Search API. And so, look, it just responded. So there you go, it provided the news. Today, the brain here, what is it used for? It is used so that people understand the user's request that comes from there. And once it understands what it's about, it will create what we call a new plan to query the tools to query. In fact, here are the tools that are made available to it. Afterwards, it all depends on the need. If it needs to use this tool, it will come here. If it needs to use that tool, it will come here. If it needs to do that, it will go there. So for me, I will try to explain a little bit to you afterwards. These 3 nodes here to understand a little bit what each one will do. So the 3 nodes, in fact, we have 2 nodes that are mandatory. This one is optional because it will perform another function that I can explain to you later. All right, let's get started. We are actually going to work on this first node. So what is this node? This, actually, it's not bad. So it's SerpApi. I'll show you, in fact, the website. It's this one, so it's not to press it. In fact, it's simply a tool that allows us to trigger the Google Search API. This means that when we give it information, as you can see there, that's the course and the information. Thanks to that information, when I do the test and the search, the system will simply retrieve for me the links that exist on the internet related to that search. And it is very oriented towards what we call the tool. It uses the Google search engine. So as a result, we are going to use this tool. And in our specific case, we will need this tool. Why? Because if we search, in fact, for example, Hotel Paris, Don de Dial, you will see that there, the Hotel Paris, in fact, behind this page, there will be what we call a URL. Look, this URL that you are seeing up there is, in a way, the reference that will bring us back. So first step, we will retrieve the link from our search. And then another module that we will see later, it is the one that will start collecting all the data that will appear here. That's the second step, but the first step, I actually need to retrieve that. And we don't want to do any programming. So it's the tool that will take care of doing it. If the people, in fact, who will understand all this information, then how do we call upon this tool? If I come back here, then in my workflow, so we come back, here we are. In my workflow here, there, when I click a bit on more there, look, if I type server on foot, so we will type it, SerpApi. There you go. You will find that the tool already exists. It is integrated with n8n. So when I take the SerpApi, you will see that I need to do something somewhere. What we call the credential connection. We'll simply create a connection, and that actually just requires creating a free account. As you can see there, here, I have the creation. So if it's the first time, you will click here, you will click on Create New. It will ask you for the API. So to get the API, it's very simple. Once you simply add SerpApi to your workflow, in your case, of course, it is already installed, you will need to retrieve what we call the API. So we create a free account. Afterwards, when creating the free account, it will tell you that you need to confirm your phone number and your email address. These 2 are very important. You need to confirm it. You will be able to access the back office to retrieve your key here. I hid them because it's crucial to keep them secret. You should not give it away, of course, and you can even create several by looking here. So here, I simply have Piki. I can create several APIs, and it's free. Of course, it gives me free usage up to a certain point. I can launch it. In fact, each month actually up to search per month, of course, if I need much more. Up to 100 searches, meaning if I have 100 domains, I want to search in 100 regions. Already 100 is more than enough, especially for prospecting. We are not going to tag search multiple destinations. Then, if you are going to sell the service outright, it means you want to create databases for multiple clients. And that is a service you sell, of course, there. You can go for the paid mode to buy what we call tokens to be able to continue using it, but the prices remain very low and very attractive. Personally, what I recommend with the free mode is more than enough. You can launch up to 100 searches, 100 domains, or 100 targets. And there you go. It's huge. Don't forget that for each search, you can retrieve thousands and thousands of other data and information thanks to another API. So once I've entered my API here, it will give me this message saying, what? The connection has been successfully tested. So as a result, my system will have the ability to collect information. So look here. When I give it and ask a question here, the latest news, you will see that obviously. Here, if I look, we will try to reduce the size a bit. So here it gave a response. It searched on Google. As you can see there, source Google, it retrieved all this information with the images of the tour. And obviously this was sent to SerpApi so that it could format and send the response. So as a result, this is a very important node. Its responsibility is to retrieve the specific link for a given search so that we can process it later. Now, imagine that the search, and it simply involves searching for pharmacies in Paris. So at that moment, once we retrieve the data, you will see that we will need to move to a second node. This is the one that will handle retrieving the data that is here, just below. Here are all the pieces of information that are here, because somewhere everything you are seeing there can obviously be retrieved from here. As a result, the system will have the ability to go around to retrieve all that data, or and information. Thanks to what? Thanks to the second node, which we will try to examine in detail. So this node here, in fact, is a node. If I click, of course, you will see that somewhere, in fact, it is a set of nodes, or this one, it will call upon to our workflow. So why does it call upon our workflow? Simply because for it to be a system made in an intelligent way, we have used this node, which itself calls upon other nodes. And what is its function? It consists of taking these data, so the city, and there it is the country and the country code. And also, of course, the search, meaning the information, the job we are looking to do, the extraction. So as a result, it's a system that will send these data. And you will see that here, in fact, the workflow calls upon our workflow, a sub-workflow. It's the one we implemented earlier, that we imported earlier, which comes, there you go. We selected it, of course, among the list of all the workflows we have in the system. Since here on my n8n, I can see all my workflows. And so as a result, I call upon this one called Extract Google Maps. And this one, in fact, inside, so if I go to extract this one, in fact, it's a sequence. It triggers, of course, when it receives the 4 pieces of information we just saw earlier, the city, the keyword, and the PI code, and the PI. What will it do when it triggers? It will simply make a call with the HTTPS using this module to a website, where on this website, there, its function is indeed the site. It is actually known for allowing me to configure multiple data. So let me explain further what the site is. The site, which is actually called PFA API File, is a website where it can connect. In fact, this is what we call actors, multiple websites. Be careful, there are 4,000, so really there's everything. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, really there are a lot, but for me, I'm only interested in a few modules. And this system, in fact, when you create an account with a free account, it will give you up to $5 of usage. $5 is more than enough. You can do up to 1,000 extractions. And of course, afterwards, if you are going to work to have, your company can bring in a lot more leads, creating databases with thousands and thousands of lines. Well, it's normal. You need to invest in it to proceed, but for testing and being sure. In fact, to ensure you are on the right track and that the system works very well with this one, it is more than sufficient. So there are some people who create multiple accounts of a kind. They can create up to 5 accounts, and each account, of course, has $5 in it, allowing up to 1,000 extractions. So as a result, you do the math, but well, if you're a pro, go create a professional account to be able to perform the extraction. And of course, there are systems that are much more powerful. Okay, so creating an account is simple. You will create an account and then it will give you access to what we call the console. So what is the console? It's simply a small space that includes what we call the shop. This means that it will allow you to see the different actors that are currently operational on your system. Of course, it provides you with information on how much you have consumed and how things are going. You can, of course, add your card here if you really want to have a very powerful system that will perform the extraction. And above all, you obviously have what we call the ability to acquire other software or other actors. So if I go back here to my document, actually in Notion, you will see that I have included for you. In fact, what we call the shop store, here it is the store actually. Here you will find the list of all the software that we can use. But be careful, for us, we will only need 2 tools that are good and if they are available. But so that you can simply search for them if you want to look for them, we won't do anything else. Well, in the meantime, with this page that opens, you have what is called Web Scoping Academy. And so there, really, it's a free course offered by API Docs. There is a certification, so this one will really give you a lot of videos and everything for those who really want to go a bit further and become experts in what we generally call scraping. It's really something to check out, so I recommend it if you want to go very, very far. Okay, and for me, the first tool I would need is this one. It's Google Maps Extractor. It's simply thanks to Apify that I can call upon this API. And what will this API allow me to do? It will allow me to extract all the data from Google Maps. You'll see that there is an enormous amount of data, so I can retrieve it, a huge amount of data. Well, I was able to gather all the data. So for you, how are you going to do it? It's very simple. You will create an account. You will find this Google Maps there, which you will simply download. Once that's done, you will go into this setting here and you will choose Support, Integration. And there you will actually retrieve your key. So this is a very important key. You will see that this key, where you will obviously set it up here, we will click, there you go, Open. You will see that this key is very important. So you will create it and set it up. So here I am showing you the exact location. There you go. It's actually here. So of course for me it's a test key for this video. So of course I will delete them right after the end of this video. But you will copy your own key here to be able to perform the extraction yourself, and of course with your own API. And everything else, in fact, you will leave it as it is. So here, this is the raid they made actor. So anyway, according to the documentation at Aud, I have actually noted down for you all the integration information where you will be able to, if you ever want to follow the steps on how I set up this system, you will find all that in the documentation. But for you, you will just copy this and run it without any issues. Then the system, in fact, once it completes the extraction, will simply go and save it in my file, Google Sheet. So it is very important for me, in fact, to let the artificial intelligence automatically create for me. Automatically, you will see there, it's automatic. It will automatically create all the information for me. It will create the databases, the columns, the information, the column titles, everything. It will do it itself. It will even do the formatting. So I do nothing. I just selected the file on my computer. And of course, you need to put your file on Google Sheet, so everyone will create their own database, because there is another person using my own file here. So every time they do extractions, it gets saved on my PC, probably on account n8n on my Google Sheets. So as a result, you must, of course, click here to select your own display so that the information is saved there. So that's it. Well, it's true that there is what we call aggregation that's farther. It simply allows you to gather all the information again and send it to OpenAI and ChatGPT so they can do it for you. Display in the chat, remember here in the OpenAI chat, when I ask it questions, it is sending them back to me. That's why I didn't want that Google chat, OpenAI. Here also goes to Google Sheets to retrieve the data and make a summary. No, so we give it the information directly here. So if I summarize, once I find with this core the link to the exact search, this core has its mission thanks to this tool, to our system, to our another actor. If I return here to the level of the actors, it is this actor who has the mission to gather all the data. Of course, every time the system is executed, I can see in detail here the data and information that are collected. So generally up to this level, the system concludes. But there is a small option that has just been added. We will try to see it right away. It's another option that allows extracting data and information from links or websites. So specific that I retrieved it and I don't want that. Sometimes I have information actually on Yellow Pages. Sometimes I have information. It's not necessarily actually on Google Maps or even related to a website. And I want the system to actually retrieve them. So the last sub workflow, so this one, in fact, it simply calls this workflow. There. The only difference is what this one. And it calls, let's say, another actor. So what is it? The actor is still in our Apify tool. But here, we call our actor named Website Content Crawler. So what does this one do? In fact, for example, I gave it the link to my website. There is a lot of data information. There is a lot of information. So then what did it do when I launched this data? I will show you here. So there, when I tell it to scrape, extract all the data and information from this website, there, of course, so if I look here, so the system. It called upon this tool this time. In fact, that's the strength of AI. And actually this agent knows which tool to use automatically. And there you go. It just gave me the information regarding my entire website, the courses, the main outlines of the courses or the course categories. The additional pages it detected on my site, everything related to call to action, meaning information and data. And I actually requested that they be saved on another sheet. And in that sheet, I found all the text it was able to extract. So all of that, and save them in my database, a Google Sheets file, because later on I can actually make price comparisons, develop strategies, conduct competitive intelligence. So it's very important. Therefore, in our system, we don't just have a system that extracts data from Google Maps, but also a system capable of conducting competitive intelligence. Imagine there are countless scenarios I can develop based on the data I am collecting, and that's what makes it a strong point. So this system is the same concept, but this one involves another very important player. And as a result, I have a complete workflow. Well then, if you've reached the end of this video, I think you appreciated this workflow, this AI, which especially helps salespeople, business leaders to create databases for prospecting, for collecting data. So what I did is I created a much more comprehensive training where I start from a blank page and I create each node separately to perfectly explain the technical choices and especially how to handle them. N with N in a simple way for beginners and even for experts. So all the prongs, all the configurations that are here, I explain them line by line. And the goal of the complete or most detailed training is that I incorporate several workflows into it. There is not only this workshop. I show you many other workshops so that the goal is you will be able to create your own workflow, either for your company or even to sell. These workflows, given that today there is a huge demand from companies wanting to automate tasks. I will show you right away how to access all my resources and all my videos on everything related to automation with n8n. You will simply access my website, dieterferris.vip. On this site, you will find a selection of 20 courses containing 100 hours of lessons. The courses range from beginner to expert levels. We cover everything related to automation, no-code, and artificial intelligence. I actually start with the basics, and gradually we will level up. There are several workflows to work on, and there are several practical workshops. And most importantly, you will find source codes ready to be downloaded, deployed, pinned, bit on, and tested. The goal is that if you watch an hour and a half of videos per day after 2 months, you will be able to create your own workflow and actually create complex systems ready to be used in your company or even to be resold. So the training here. So to access it, it's very simple. You will enter your email address here. You need to type the email address and you will also use my promo code YT20. So this is a code I provided for my community on YouTube. This will obviously give you an additional discount and you will of course have a 14-day guarantee. This means that after 14 days, generally, if you manage to have around 20 hours, you will feel that your level has just advanced. And you will, of course, handle and use workflows much more easily. So the guarantee is 14 days. If after 14 days you haven't made progress, you can simply send an email and I will refund your entire payment. Once you have access to the courses, you will see that, of course, it all depends on the package you have chosen. You will have access to the training sessions of Dr. Ferris. So all of these are my courses that are also available on Udemy, of course. But here, the price is different. It's simply a package for my community to encourage them to move forward and learn much more easily with a much lower cost. If I take, for example, one of the courses, if I click here, you will always find that I start with what we call course support, where I provide you with access information, workflows to download, PDFs. And so all my courses are organized in this way. There are always different videos on the left. If you click, it will give you direct access to the video where I guide you step by step to solve, enhance, or create your workflow in a very simple and smooth manner. So always at the end of the course, you will have a final practical workshop where you will test your skills to ensure you are capable of making these creations. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.